with a Libra. It's a little siren-y and it's a little coquettish as well. I'm gonna be drinking during this story time because this story time requires drinks, okay? Don't mind my raggedy nails. It's quarantine out here, it's hot out here. Don't mind it. Today, we are going to discuss the time that a Virgo almost destroyed my life. Am I the only one? Am I alone? I ain't gonna front on y'all. When I first saw this, I just looked at him. So I was in love, okay, instantly. Got a little spicy on the beach. So I keep driving, the girl speeds up to get next to me again and is still screaming and yelling. So I look over at him, and ladies, y'all know the face. So I pull over. I've learned never again, not today, Satan. But I was going, honey. I'm not gonna hold y'all. XO lovers, it's Britney Mechelle. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, whichever applies. I have something new for you all today. I'm excited about it. I'm going to do a Storytime Astrology Edition, okay? Now, I'm not gonna hold you all. I know why you're here, okay? Now, I'm very into astrology, if you don't know. Well, you wouldn't know, because I don't think I put it on my channel yet, but yo soy un Libra, okay? I'm gonna brush it up on my Spanish. I am a Libra, you know. That's why you're my lovers, because, you know, I'm a Libra and I love love, and that's what we do. That's our thing, you know? The scales balance for me. I balance the scales. I feel as though I encompass a lot of things that are synonymous with the Libra. Like, I'm indecisive, not very punctual, flighty, flirty, and a host of other things, okay? I do put some respect on the zodiac name in terms of personality traits and things like that, because I feel like a lot of the things that they say that I have, and I feel like a lot of the things that people in my life, what their sign is, I feel like it does correspond with their personality traits. I am a lovely Libra. At one point in my life, I involved myself with a Virgo. I'm not proud about it. It's nothing that I would like to, you know, write home about or anything like that. But at one point in my life, I did involve myself with a Virgo. And he ruined my life. Let me say that back. He didn't ruin it, okay? Because I did my life, you know, still, we got it together, okay? We're back on track. But I'll tell you all about the time a Virgo almost destroyed me. I was gone, honey. I was gone, honey. I've been redeemed out here. For those of you who have been here for a little minute, you all know that I was in a long-term relationship, which subsequently led to a marriage. We have since been separated for a little over 2 years now. Y'all come back for that story time. You're here. So this story time begins in about 2014. I started working at this place called Racetrack. Shout out to, you know, people who in the southeastern region of the US of A, Georgia, Florida, y'all know what I'm talking about. I started working at this place called Racetrack in 2012. Shortly after I ended my relationship, my baby father / husband / soon-to-be husband and I had split up back in 2012 for like a long extended time. Prior to this now, extended time that's going to lead to whatever. We had split up. I was on my own, you know. I started, you know, glowing up and sad, what you little babies call living up today. I had started a new job. I was doing great at my job. I loved my job. I had left out from him and I was renting out a room from one of my friends. Just having a good time. I was dating. I was losing a lot of weight. At that time was the first time I had lost an ass little weight. I lost like 80 pounds. I was dipping it and doing it, honey, as Winnie Williams says. And you know that's when they come. And you know that's when they come. And you know that's when they come. So about 2014, after I had been at my job about 2 years and I was working my way up, after I had been working at my job about a year or two, I was working on becoming a manager. So They were giving me a lot of extra responsibility. I was taking over certain things while I was at work and blah, blah, blah. I had also begun to start training new people that came into my particular location. This walked into my location as a new hire. I ain't gonna front on y'all. When I first saw this, okay, I looked at him. The first thought that came to my mind when I saw him was, if I could build him, it'd be good. So I was in love, okay, instantly. Love at first sight. But I played it cool. I'm like, cool. Those were initially my first thoughts when I saw him. I'm going to be real with y'all. Like, I was gone. Now, I'm no stranger to good looking men. Like, my soon to be husband is okay. So I was no stranger to okay. But they are polar opposites. Like, my soon to be husband, he's about 6'2", lighter skinned, he has locks, very good looking guy. Y'all see him on my channel. If you've been on my channel, you've seen him on my channel. Virgo, 6'6", milk chocolate. I'm somebody, I don't love like everybody else love. I think my soon-to-be husband is like no, I'm lying. There's a couple guys that I've liked that have been like that, but it's probably one of the only guys that I have been with seriously who is like a lot of girls would want him kind of guy, because I don't really love, and a lot of girls would want them kind of guy. Now, granted, now I'm with a woman, so none of that matters, but y'all come back for that story time. Yeah, here. I'm in love with a Cancer woman. This is gonna be a long ass story time. Y'all bear with me. Both of them, very, very handsome. But when I saw him, my soon-to-be husband spoke to the girl in me. Virgo. He spoke to the goddess in me. And it's not a comparison. It's not good, bad. It's just different. My husband is still. This one is still. So he came in as a new trainee. I had to train him, and it was like 2 other people with him. One of them was actually his friend. They knew each other. So once I had that thought in my mind initially where I was like, I knew what to do.
I ignored his ass.
Let me just give a little lesson if a little lesson is necessary. Ladies, when you really, really want somebody, a man, not necessarily, no, a woman too, I'm lying. When you want somebody, ignore their ass. Okay? And as my babe would say, I'm gonna let you know something good. Ignore their ass if you really want them. Let me explain. So when I saw him and I knew I wanted him, because I wanted him, I was gonna get his ass because I wanted him. I said, ooh, shut it down. Let me tell you why you shut it down too, because some people will not get this. A traditionally attractive guy, including like even like I was telling you, my was gonna be husband, they're used to women chasing them, even though they should not be chasing them. I don't know what y'all women are on the game. They are used to. So be the polar opposite. That's where I had my moment. I cut that shit off. Okay, I ignored him. If you have to engage, as I did, because I was training him. It's real. It's not overtly flirtatious. Now it's hard for me as Libras. Now let's get into this astrology part of it. As Libras, we are naturally flirty and we have a natural charm about us that's very infectious. It's very warm and inviting. You kind of have to, it's on, but if you really want somebody, for a Libra, you kind of have to tweak it a little bit. You don't want to be so overtly flirtatious. You want them to chase you, because too, as a Libra, you want to be chased out here, honey. You don't want to have to go after somebody, especially not as a Libra woman. You will go after somebody if you really want them, but the way that you go after someone is very stealthy, very covert. With a Libra, it's a little sireny and it's a little coquettish as well. The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene. Be very subtle. What I did is, instead of being my normally overtly flirty Libra self, I kind of toned it down a little bit. I had to kind of ignore him, even though I had to engage with him. So I was not flirty still, even though the fact that I did have to engage with him. So what I did was I, ha ha ha, he he he. We laughed, we talked about all kind of stuff. We actually ended up getting kind of a little bit of reprimanded, making sure that we were actually doing work, but it wasn't like me being on him or him being on me. It was really kind of like, haha, look at that, haha, look at that, and kind of just normal chit chat, banter. So to him, while he had, and there were, this is also why I said not to be so overt with it, because there were, and he was seeing all of that and still like on me. He started getting on me strong. But the first day I was real. About 31st day, he was on my ass. I was just laughing, joking, whatever. He ended up telling me, like, during our conversation, whatever, that he could cook. So, man, I always tell you he could cook. So I'm, joking, like, oh, whatever. He probably cooks spaghetti, whatever. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? He ended up bringing me lunch to work, and he showed me a video of him cooking. And he showed me a video of him cooking, because he's like, oh, I know you're gonna think I ain't make it or whatever. His daughter was there, like, with him, helping him or whatever. So it was super cute. And like, he had got my ass. The same way I was working his ass, he was working my ass. Even my manager, not my direct supervisor, but like one of the managers that work for the company, like straight up told me, like, don't talk to that man. And told him, leave that girl alone. She's a nice girl. Of course, he didn't listen. I wasn't, let me lie. I was a nice girl. Have a Now, after he brought me that food to work, because I did not even know it was coming or anything like that, so it was a surprise. He had my that's okay. He flipped the script on my mother. That's okay. I wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. From the time he brought me that food to my job, it was us, inseparable, for like a month. And that's literally about just over a month. We were inseparable. We would hang out, we would meet up. I would go see him like on my breaks. Like if I wasn't at work, if he was at work, he would be calling me all the time, see me after work. Like we would go hang out, sit and talk, and we had started kissing all over each other. Like he took me out, like we went to dinner and stuff like that. We did it for like a month before shit hit the fan. Okay, I didn't give him any of this body because I was trying to secure. How about, girl, Hojo cookies? If you even considering the Hojo cookies, let me tell you what I'm gonna tell you after me. This man, we had a whirlwind romance. Okay, this Virgo and I. A Virgo is smooth. Okay, a Virgo man, he's smooth. He is engaging. He's interesting. Virgos, they're very cold and kind of disconnected. So when they connect to somebody, they connect to somebody. And the way he and I connected was on such a whole different kind of level. It was just like the stuff we used to talk about. We used to talk for hours just about, like, and the stuff we were on the same page about. Like, it was just crazy, right? 1 month in. We at the beach one night. Because we used to sit and just talk all the time. So we went to the beach one night to sit, and we just talked all night long. We walked on the beach or whatever. We talked, we sat. I had brought blankets or whatever. We had been at the beach maybe since about 11 or 12. We did not leave until about 6 a.m. Got a little spicy on the beach. But we shut it down because we had not yet. Technically though, on the beach, we started the problems. So we're leaving. Our cars are gone. His car is gone. My car is gone because we both drove to the beach separately. So I call my mom. It's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. My mama is my rider, okay? I don't know if she's gonna watch this one. She might because she knows it and she like to be in my business now. But my mama is my rider. My mama's my best friend. I called her doing shit I ain't got no business doing. I called my mama because I'm like, fuck, we're stranded out here. So I called her. She came and picked us up in her little Lexus coupe. My mama is a rider, okay? In her little Lexus coupe. His tall ass, I told y'all he's 6'6", so he barely can't even fit in the damn car. I'm like sitting in the back, kind of whatever. He running in the front with my mom. We go to her house. So we chilling at her house or whatever until the tow yard place opened up. Calling them, whatever, we have a hassle to get the fucking car. I ended up getting my car first. His car didn't get out. That car didn't get out at the time. Let me tell y'all who's why. It's what his motherfucking car. Just wait. I had to take him back to his house to change because he had to go to work. So we get back to his house, he runs in to change. And I'm just sitting in my car, whatever, just scrolling my phone, whatever. Something was like, my spirit was off. Like my baby said, my spirit was off. I don't know what it was, but I could not put my finger on it. So he left his phone in the car. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I did go through his phone and I saw like a trail of messages, but there was only one message there, if that makes sense. Like there was a thread, but there was only one message there. But you can tell from the message that was there that others had been deleted. And I believe I cannot remember what it said, but it said something that was kind of like, but I thought some of it at the time, but I was gone at the time, okay? Because I was gone. So I sat and waited. So he comes out and we leave to head over to where we were working because I was going to drop him off at work. Maybe about 5 minutes from his house, a white car pulls up to the driver's side of my car, and this white girl is screaming out the window. What the hell going on with her? I didn't think nothing of it. And I'm driving. I keep driving. So I keep driving. The girl speeds up to get next to me again, and is still screaming and yelling. So I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with her? So I look over at him. And ladies, y'all know the face. What the fuck? So I pull over. What the fuck going on? And did. So I pulled off into this little, I believe it was a church, and the girl pulled off too. So I'm like, oh, this. So the girl is screaming. So I'm like, you know her? I don't know. I had pulled off when I started. So I pull right up, back over. I put over to the side of the road. I pull over again to the side of the road. She pulls up behind my car, gets out, goes over to his side of my vehicle, the passenger side. I'm sorry. My side of my mother vehicle, where he just happened to be seated. And she proceeds to cuss him the F out. And I'm like, whoa, what the baby ass? I'm like, whoa, I'm about to have to fight out here. Like, what's going on? I think I had a battery. I had something on the side. He like, nah, whatever. She comes up. Did he tell you I'm his wife? When I tell y'all, my heart left my body. My heart left my motherfucking body. Huh? You're that's your wife?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I didn't know.
So I'm like, so he started screaming at her. Gist of it was like, we weren't together, or we're not together, or whatever the case may be. Are we together? You broke up with me. Are we together? Whatever. The girl concurs with him. No, we not together. Or yeah, you know, I said that. No, we not together. Whatever. So he goes, am I? And you are we? No, whatever. No, I'm not saying all that. But did he tell you he got a baby? Did he tell you he got a daughter? And I said, yeah, he did tell me he got a daughter. So she was upset about that because I guess he normally, and I guess he then doubled back and told me he does not normally tell women that he has a child because he don't really be serious about them or whatever case may be. So that's why she had the reaction that she had, because I guess she's asked somebody else and they said no, they didn't know. I don't know. It was a mess. I was devastated, y'all. When I tell y'all, I was in love with this man. Okay? Real quick, because we have been, and I kind of glazed over because it's so much more later with the Virgo. The Libra in me, he spoke to the Libra in me. Consistency. It was conversation. We FaceTime. I would have never guessed that this man was married. Never. Like how you see like, oh, well, this don't make sense, or well, that don't make sense. There was one thing that he said to me that didn't make sense. Well, he had to get off the phone because his roommate, something with his roommate or something like that. And that was the one thing that was just like, in retrospect, hindsight is 2020. But outside of that, when I tell you that man was always with me, when I tell you that man was always on the phone with me, always, like, it was like, I was flabbergasted. I was devastated. After they got into their whole little argument or whatever, and they were going back and forth about whether or not they were together or whatever the case may be, they did concur. From what I gathered from that moment, they both did agree that they weren't together at that time. She was just upset about the fact that, well, she's a woman. As a woman, I was able to see it after the fact. It was like, as a woman, like, yeah, we not, it don't make, sometimes we don't make sense. Like, oh yeah, we not together, but what the fuck is you doing? Because we still are married, we still have a child together. They have a daughter together. So it was a real fucked up situation that I got pulled into on some bullshit, and it really, really hurt me because I was like, we ended up still leaving after they got into their little argument or whatever, because I was just like, I was shell shocked. And then the stuff that I kind of was, it was in limbo with it too, because everything that he said, she agreed with what he said. So it's kind of like he didn't lie. The lie was the omission of the marriage to me. That was my issue. But in terms of like, oh, are they fucking? She concurred that they not fucking. Or are they together? She concurred that they're not together. They were just living together for the daughter or whatever. Like, she literally said them things out her mouth. So it was kind of like, I felt terrible, because it was just like, they married. He's married. The shit was terrible. Terrible. Stopped talking to him. I dropped him off because we were still in the car and I was in shock. So I ended up driving him still to work or whatever. I dropped him off or whatever. He tried to sit in the car with me for like an hour. He was ended up late to work or whatever. Just explaining to me like, I didn't say nothing because I didn't know how you were going to react. Like, I'm not with her. We not getting back together. I want to be with you. You know how they do. I was not trying to hear none of that, because I was devastated. It was just like, well, fuck, like, shit. I always feel like, and this is like the story of my life kind of shit, because I always feel like when somebody comes into my life or whatever, and I think it's always on some bullshit. Always on some bullshit. Luckily, I'm in a different kind of situation right now, but it does come with still its own bullshit. Not like bad bullshit, but just like, well, dang, can't stuff just be, I don't know what to say. It's life. So I ended up stopped talking to him or whatever. We ended up started talking back.
Disclaimer, I was very young and very dumb. This situation is very ghetto. 10 out of 10, do not recommend.
I let him explain himself to me. Tell me what the fuck he had to tell me, whatever. the girl moved out. Because remember I told you, she ended up following us from their house. They were living together. I did not know they were still living together. They had broken up, but they were already in the same house when they broke up. So they just hadn't moved out separately or whatever. The lease wasn't up or whatever. So she ended up grabbing all of her shit. And I respected her for that. I even told him, like, I ain't mad at old girl. She grabbed all of her daughter's things and she moved. And so he was in the apartment by himself. So then at that point, it was he and I, going from there. So we tried our hand at dealing in a relationship, which it's so fucking complicated. And I hate even discussing this because it's like, okay, well, you was dealing with, this person who was in this situation. It's like, even now as I sit here, I'm in a fucked up situation, So it's kind of like, people want stuff to be like black and white, but sometimes it's really not black and white. And sometimes things take time, and sometimes you're trying to figure things out. I don't know. It's just easier to say stuff is, oh, this is bad, oh, that's bad, or whatever, because it's painted under the brush of whatever the tradition of the thing is. But you never really know what's really going on in somebody's situation. And even currently, somebody could feel some kind of way about how I'm involved, but I'm not wrapped up. It's not as easy to wrap up, and sometimes you need a little time, but I just feel like sometimes it happens and you're just having to figure out how to navigate it. And it's not always clean, it's not always easy, it doesn't always make sense, but I won't pretend that I feel bad because I know what the situation was, regardless of whether or not it's perceived as a bad thing. Because even the person who was the other person in that situation, I meant no fault to that person. So it's just that sometimes timings don't align up with the end of this to the beginning of this. But I felt betrayed, I felt humiliated, I felt used, I felt all kind of things dealing in that situation, and it hurt me so bad. So after we were together for maybe a couple months, it was not that long at all, he ended up ghosting me. I deserved it. I should have left it there. I really should have. Under normal circumstances, I probably would have, but at that point, the way that we pulled into each other that first, and it's hard to kind of like get into detail or get into a story time. I can't really explain it, but how deep we were into each other in that first part, it was deep. So when he ended up going, which I figured as much as he would, because once I found out that he was married, it was just like, okay, well, shit, I can't be the rebound out here. You're not about to. And I even said to him, like, I don't want to be the rebound out here. Like, you need to run the streets or whatever it is you're gonna do. But they always say they're like trying to run the streets or whatever. So, but after we dated for a couple of months, he ended up ghosting me because he was going through like living changes, because he ended up moving out of that apartment that they were sharing or whatever after she left, trying to get his career and things like that together. And it was just a lot. So we ended up not talking. When we finally did resume talking, it was literally, this is the quick part, because it was just on and off kind of shit for years. So after we ended up breaking up, after the couple of months that we dated, this Virgo and his ass. Virgos are very critical. They're very critical of themselves, and they're extremely critical of others. And there were so many things that I would do that were just not up to snuff for him. And it's like a switch that will flip. Like, I would say something and it's just like, I wouldn't hear from him. Or I would do something and it's like, I wouldn't hear from him. It was very like punishment, reward. My bae is on my mind heavy because I'm just having all of her little sayings in my head. But it was very, are you doing what I want you to do? If you're not, then you're going to have consequences for it. There will be presence and then there will be none. And as somebody who struggles with abandonment issues, it pulled on my need to be needed or my need to be loved. So a lot of my personal insecurities shine through a lot in that relationship, because not only are they critical, but they're also very intelligent. They're very savvy. So they can teach you a lot of things, but while they're teaching you, it can also seem as though they're being condescending to you as well, because it's kind of like, oh, you don't know this, you should know this. Oh, you're not doing this, you should be doing this. So for a Libra, we have certain parts about us that are ego driven because we're very know-it-all. So while you're telling us that we don't know anything, but we think we know everything, it's a break in the system. I was on and off and on and off and on and off because I just wanted to, I eventually learned this. I just wanted the validation that only he could give me in the way that I needed. For a Virgo, they like to be in control. I like to be submissive. It worked. And so I could play on that. Whereas priors with the Sagittarius, where they're more easygoing, more go with the flow. They're controlling, but it's kind of low key. It's very after the fact of, oh, you didn't do what I want you to do. Whereas with a Virgo, it's very, do this. Like, you know what they want you to do. There's no reactionary response. It's just, I told you to do this, so you should have done it. If you didn't do it, you're the problem, and I'm gonna punish you. But a Sagittarius is kind of like, you did this, but you could have did this, you know? So it's two different worlds. Basically, for years, up until about last year, I broke free. For years, honey. When I tell you, he had my mind, all because he could speak to the woman. He could speak to the goddess in me. And as a Libra, we need certain things. We like excitement. We like adventure. We like spontaneity. We like to be handled, because in a lot of areas of our life, we lack the discipline of being able to even make a decision. So make it for us. That Virgo almost ruined my life. Now I stand here today, wiser, more savvy. I will put some respect on his name because he's taught me so much, even about myself. There are pieces of him I will forever be grateful for, because it showed me pieces of me, unhealed pieces of me, broken pieces of me, whole pieces of me that I needed to see. So it's not all bad. As a Libra with a Virgo, a Libra woman with a Virgo man, we're not in most matches, we're not a match already, because we're so dichotomous, because they're so hard and we're so soft, and we kind of need the softness, and they need you to be on your shit. So it's not as easy, but certain personality traits of our sign work together very well, and other parts. That is my story time of how a Virgo almost destroyed my life. And I tried to include as much detail as I could. There's so much more, but it's like little minute stuff here and there, a little spicy stuff here and there. But just know, from about 2014 until about 2019, I was gone, honey. I was gone. I live to fight another day. I do want to do more story times like this. Now, you all let me know. I have a couple more in mind. Oh, I forgot to tell you all, he did subsequently get divorced somewhere in that timeline. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my story time. It was very long, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be doing some more of these because I enjoy doing this. Like, I feel like I left so much out, and I'm so sorry. If I remember some more, I need to bring it back.